Welcome back to the channel, Hobby1 Canopy here. I am an Amazon associate. That means that if you use the Amazon links in my video descriptions to purchase kits, tools, or equipment featured on the channel, I will earn a small commission at no extra cost to you. It's a simple way to support this channel while picking up the items that you already need. Today we are going to start working on the 1/48 scale A-1H Skyraider from Tamiya. This kit has sat in my stash for about 2 decades now, and I felt it was finally time to give it a go. To spruce it up, I thought I would purchase a new resin seat, a new rear wheel, wing folds, and some nicely detailed pylons to sit on the folded wings. I clipped the cockpit parts from their tree and started to dry fit the pieces. I found that the bulkhead had some pin marks that potentially would be visible. These were filled with CA and sanded away. Next, I added a piece of plastic strip to the front of the control panel, which is present in the real aircraft. Next, I added what I believe is a fuse box, the panel next to the pilot's right leg. This was made again with plastic and raised decal rivets. The cockpit was then painted and gloss coated for the oil wash. As usual, I used my mix of Winsor & Newton Artist oils thinned with terpenoid. Once dried, I removed the excess with Q-tips. You will notice I carved out and added a small piece of rectangular plastic to emulate the pilot's control latch for the wing folds. Once the cockpit was ready, I used some Tamiya Extra Thin to glue it to the interior of the fuselage, and the 2 halves of the fuselage were ready to be put together. I again used Tamiya Extra Thin, but used it sparingly and carefully checked that each seam was aligned well. Work like this up front means less putty and less sanding later on. Now it was time to start cutting the wings. Following the Wolfpack instructions carefully, I used the Tamiya panel line Scriber to start removing material from the seams. For this kind of work, I really try to take my time and not get impatient. Once the work was completed, I opened up the Wolfpack wings and checked the fit. The resin set required some cleanup. The parts look great and match the level of detail in the kit. The real aircraft has a triangle structure that I decided to create with plastic. Now it was time to start preparing the canopy and windscreen. I removed them from the tree and scraped away any extra sprue that needed to be removed. I like to cut small squares and rectangles out of the Tamiya tape, then apply each square to a clear portion of the canopy and windscreen. Finally, after the engine was built up and painted, I added an oil wash. The excess was again removed with Q-tips. As a reminder, if you use the Amazon links in my video descriptions to purchase kits, tools, or equipment featured on the channel, I earn a small commission at no extra cost to you. It's a simple way to support the channel while picking up the items that you need. Modeling Maestro here. Yes, this channel has a new name. As much as I loved the name Hobby-Wan Kenobi, I felt it was time to move away from the name and logo that suggests intellectual property for a well-known company. The new name, Modeling Maestro, works for this channel on a few levels, including the fact that my own profession is that of literally a maestro, because I am a conductor and composer of mostly classical music. For the logo, we have maintained its color and basic design in order to keep a recognizable profile. Okay, with that out of the way, it's now time to continue work on the Tamiya 1/48 scale A-1H Skyraider. The lower portions of the model have been painted white, and I have masked off most of it with Tamiya tape. Now I am spraying the light gold gray with my GSI Krios Mr. Procon Boy Platinum airbrush. The color was mixed with two Tamiya paints equal parts XF20 medium gray and XF2 white. This has been my main airbrush for about over a year now and can be purchased by clicking the link in the description below. Next, I attached the cowl flaps using a bit of Tamiya extra thin cement. Once the paint dried, I removed the masks from the white portions of the model. I used more tape to mask off areas for the wing walkways and the area under the canopy behind the seat. As I'm spraying, I like to use 3x5 cards to protect areas from paint overspray. After removing the masks, the model was ready for a gloss coat. Tamiya Clear is now my go-to for clear coats. It lays down nicely and can be built up to create a glass-like finish. Now the model is ready for the decals. I ordered the bullseye decals representing aircraft from the USS Ticonderoga in 1967. This sheet of decals includes a set for Skyraider, as well as 3 versions for an F-8 Crusader and 2 versions of Skyhawks. I certainly plan to use the decals on the F-8 Crusader and another A4 Skyhawk in the future. The decals behaved well, but I caused some damage on one of the larger blue striped decals when I added Walther's Solvaset, a decal setting solution. This stuff is strong. I am continually reminded to test it on a spare decal before assuming it will be gentle enough. The damaged area of the decal will be repaired after the decal has dried and the model has received a flat coat. This repair will certainly take place in the next video. Next, I masked off and airbrushed black sections of the arrestor hook to achieve the typical alternating black and white stripes. The landing gear and wheels were painted white and coated with Tamiya Clear in preparation for an oil wash. I used my standard mix of Winsor & Newton Artist oils thinned with turpenoid. Once dried, I removed the excess with Q-tips. Finally, I sprayed Tamiya gloss over the decals in preparation for the full oil wash, which you will see in the final video. In order to enhance the panel lines, I am applying a wash to the model. The model has received a clear coat of Tamiya gloss. My preferred wash is a mixture of Winsor and Newton Artist Oils thinned with terpenoid. I used a black color with tints of brown and white to create a dirtier gray color. A pure black wash against the light gray and white would look too unrealistic. I find that the more terpenoid that is applied to the oils, the faster the wash dries. However, the pigment will be weaker and more likely to lift out of the crevices and panel lines. You will know when the oil wash is dry when it takes on a flat appearance. If it is still glossy, it's still wet. Once the wash is dried, I use Q-tips to gently remove the excess from the surfaces, leaving the remnants in the panel lines and other details. Now that all parts have received the wash, the model can be given a flat coat to seal it all in and to give a more realistic look. Once the flat coat is dried, I can remove the masks from the canopy and windshield. This was also a good time to remove the sponge I placed in the cockpit as a mask. Next, the engine cowling was placed on the front of the aircraft. Next, it was time to add red paint along the edge of the main gear doors. These doors needed to be installed prior to painting, so reaching every angle was a bit tricky. Next, I painted the tarp-like fabric at the wing folds. My references show that this material had a specific kind of blue that I mixed with a bit of black and gray. It should also have a shiny appearance, with a black zipper running along the center. Finally, each of the screws or bolt heads were painted white. A few pylons were added to the bottom of the wings. As a reminder, if you use the Amazon links in my video descriptions to purchase kits, tools, or equipment featured on the channel, I will earn a small commission at no extra cost to you. It's a simple way to support the channel while picking up the items that you already need. I returned to the artist oils and terpenoid, but this time to add smoke and other weathering effects. Adding a few drops of heavily thinned oils is just enough to create the appearance of oil stains. The material can be moved around and reshaped with a soft brush and Q-tips. Other stains and general wear was added all around the aircraft using gray oils, brown oils. Some of these oils were placed then dragged in a wiping motion to create streaks. Then I splattered some heavily thinned oils by pressing a brush loaded with paint against a toothpick and allowing the bristles to flick and spray droplets. I used this effect for both darker and lighter shades of gray. Again, a brush was used to shape the material. In this clip, you will see the top of the blue striped decal of the starboard side of the model. This was my first attempt to repaint an area of the decal that was damaged in the previous video. In the next video, you will see my second and more successful attempt at matching the blue. It's now time to weather the walkways on the wings. For these, I applied very light gray artist oils. I pressed the bristles of the brush into the paint at almost a perpendicular angle. This spread the paint out to create a realistic look. I continued with the same light gray all along the aircraft, especially on the black decals to give them a worn look. Today we are finishing up the 1/48 scale A-1H Skyraider from Tamiya. The model has been painted and has a flat coat. Now it's time to add the large characteristic smoke stains found on Skyraiders. The staining will be achieved using artist oils. The color on these stains consists of burnt sienna, black, and some grays. The staining starts a bit after the exhaust. I started with the burnt sienna and pulled it back with a soft brush. I then added the black, but applied less of it. As I started to achieve the proper shape of the stains, I used Q-tips to remove some of the oils. This process became a mixture of adding and removing oils to find just the right balance. These effects could also be achieved with an airbrush. However, I felt I would have more control using brushes and Q-tips. In this photo, you can see the 4 20mm cannons I made from tubing. These would later be fit, trimmed, and glued in the wings. Next, the aftermarket seat was ready to be painted. I used Vallejo Model Color acrylic paints and mixed the colors to achieve just the right look for the cushion and belts. In this photo, you can see the weathering I achieved around the walkways. This was done by stippling artist oils with various brushes. Next, I added white glue to apply the windscreen. I next wrap thin wire around a piece of thin brass rod to achieve the coil wire found at the rear of the cockpit. Finally, it was time to attach the folded wings. I scratch built a more accurate antenna and placed it on the starboard wing. And with that, the model is now complete. This kit went together really well. I did add a new resin seat, a resin rear wheel, wing folds, and pylons. Without these, the build could have taken just a few hours to construct the model. I was actually surprised by how few steps were found in the instructions. Even despite the extra work, this was a very satisfying build. Well, that does it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.